Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, November 21st, 2019. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. May we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Draper, Ms. Atkins. Here. Mr. Jensen.
Here.
Mayor Abu-Asli.
Here.
Mr. Sternad.
Here.
Mr. Brandt. Ms. Scadelia. Here.
Okay, at this time we have a moment of silence. Thank you. First on the agenda this evening we have two proclamations. The first one is World Pancreatic Cancer Day proclamation. I've asked Councilmember Atkins to present that, and we do have someone accepting that this evening, Mr. Oglesby. So she'll come down if you want to come forward. That'd be great.
Okay, so whereas pancreatic cancer has become one of our time's most devastating diseases, and whereas pancreatic cancer has surpassed breast cancer to become the third leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States and is projected to become the second leading cause by the year 2025. And whereas in 2019, an estimated 56,770 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and nearly 45,750 succumbing to the disease. And whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is generally in later stages, and only 10% of pancreatic cancer patients are diagnosed when the disease is confined to their pancreas. And 91% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years of diagnosis. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits at just 9%. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the 7th most common cause of cancer-related death in men and women across the world. And whereas it is projected that approximately 600 Iowans will be diagnosed and 480 deaths will occur in Iowa in 2019, with an estimated 418,000 new pancreatic cancer cases diagnosed worldwide in 2020. And whereas the long-term health and well-being of the residents of Marion are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and ongoing research into early detection, causes, and effective comprehensive treatments. Now therefore, I, Colette Atkins, on behalf of Nicholas Abu-Asli, Mayor of the City of Marion, do hereby designate November 21st as World Pancreatic Cancer Day.
And was there a typo in it? So we're going to be reissuing that because I think there's a typographical error in it. So we will reissue it and send it to you, okay? Thank you. Okay, our next one is Small Business Saturday, and Councilmember Jensen is presenting it, and Brooke Prouty from Uptown Marion, Main Street District will accept it.
Well, first of all, I consider this a privilege to read this proclamation because my entire business career has been solely focused and involved with small businesses, so I know the importance of small businesses as they relate to all communities. Whereas the City of Marion, Iowa celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 30.2 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.9% of all businesses with employees in the United States. Whereas small businesses employ 58.9 million people, which make up 47.5% of the country's total employee workforce. Whereas an estimated 2.2 million small businesses will be engaged to get shoppers out into their communities to shop small. And whereas small business owners expect an average of 29% of their total annual sales to be taking place during the holiday shopping season, and 59% said Small Business Saturday contributes significantly to their holiday sales each year. And whereas 96% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said the day encourages them to shop small all year long. And whereas Marion, Iowa supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Steve Jensen, on behalf of Nicholas Abuasale, Mayor of the City of Marion, do hereby proclaim November 30th, 2019 as Small Business Saturday and encourage the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year.
Thank you. We encourage people to support our small businesses in our city throughout the year, and especially on Small Business Saturday. Okay, at this time we have a public forum, which is a time set aside for comments from the public on any topic that is listed on the agenda but not associated with the public hearing. If anyone is here to address the council on a matter that is on the agenda in a public hearing, there will be time to speak at that time. Otherwise, this is the time to address the council on any matter that is on the agenda but not associated with a public hearing. Please come forward, state your name and address, and speak into the microphone clearly, please. And also, there you go. You're ahead of me. Turn in your card and everything.
Judy Solari, 1785 Grand Avenue, Marion. Good evening, Mayor, Nick, and council. In my mind, the Marion Library is the heart of Marion and the Uptown. There is an extensive array of programs and services happening at the library at all times of the day and evening. My husband and I drove by yesterday, and the entire parking lot was filled with cars. We love going to events at the library, such as lectures by author Linda McCann, historian Kathy Wilson, and Humanities Iowa speakers. I attended a free, emphasis free, watercolor program recently where all supplies were provided. Encore Cafe has been a huge addition for the Marion senior population. We know that the new Marion Library has a definite location in the block to our west where it will remain as the heart of Uptown, but the heart will just grow to twice the size. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to address the council on any matter that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing? Okay, seeing there are none, we will proceed with the consent agenda. Mr. Nad?
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda. This will be for items A1 through F2, resolution number 28100 through 28113.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through F2, resolution 28100 through 28113. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. You want to make the next one, Steve? Oh, I will pass the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem on this one. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abu Asali's abstention from voting and discussion as follows. This will include items A1 through F1, resolution numbers 28114 through 28116.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the motion with the consent agenda with Mayor Abelosley's abstention from voting and discussion on items A1 through F1, resolution 28114 through 28116. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. This motion carries, and I will relinquish the meeting back over to the mayor.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28117, approving software as a service agreement with Tyler Technologies regarding New World ERP and Executime Enterprise Workforce Management.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28117, approving software and a service agreement with Tyler Technologies regarding New World ERP and Executime Enterprise Workforce Management. Is that correct? It should be and? Typo there? Okay. So that's the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28117, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to receive and file correspondence regarding ward sizes. Charlie Knutson, 2835 24th Ave.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file correspondence from Charlie Knutson regarding ward sizes. Discussion? Did you want to ask the question about that? Or Lon, do you want to give us a little briefing on how that works?
Sure. Marion is a growing community. We tend over time to see an imbalance in the population amongst the sizes of our wards. So the last time we balanced it was after we did the special census in 2015. So coming up with the next census in 2020, we would expect to come back to the council with new ward boundaries. And then again, if we do another special census in between 2020 and 2030, it does need to be based off of official population statistics. We don't want to get into a practice of trying to use estimates, and frankly, I don't know if the Lynn County Auditor would even allow the use of estimates to determine where the ward boundaries are. But it's one of those things where it's actually a statutory obligation. It's embodied in Marion's code that we have a responsibility to make sure that those populations are balanced, so it doesn't require council action or direction. It's something that we're required to bring forward.
Okay, so the request from Mr. Knutson was to actually look at doing the balancing of the wards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on population, not registered voters.
Correct. It's based off the population.
Okay. And okay, so what will happen with this correspondence from here?
We'll receive and file it. It becomes part of the official record, but as I said, it's part of our standing work that we know once the new census numbers come out that we have to take a look at where our ward boundaries are, and then action would come before the city council to change the boundaries of the voting districts.
It's an automatic part of the process.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it can't be done until after the official census figures come out.
Right. And one of the downsides of being in a growing community, even if you did figure out a method to start using population estimates, you could be changing boundaries every year, which I think would be quite disruptive to the public to not necessarily know who their ward representative is, or switch back and forth, or change wards annually.
Okay. Other questions or discussion on that so everybody understands it?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So when would this happen, the trigger to redraw the lines, and who's responsible for that? The auditor's office?
We get guidance from the auditor's office with suggestions on how to do it that get reviewed by the planning department, and then the action comes from the planning department to the city council. Usually they'll give us at least two options. I think the last time after 2015, the one that the council selected had us within 50 population for all 4 wards.
And what's the timing of that? I'm assuming it's well in advance of the actual election, like a year or something?
As long as the census results get certified.
Okay.
That's the trigger, and then the action happens several months after that.
Thank you.
But it would be in time before the next election.
The only thing that could put a kink in that would be is if the census results for some reason were unduly delayed and we didn't have the opportunity to see them in time before the election.
That's not in our control.
No.
What is the time frame of doing the census?
It will be done in calendar 2020, and then it just depends on when they get the results certified. I haven't looked back to see how long it took between the taking of the census and the certification of results for the regular one. I know once we did the special census in 2014, we had the results within a matter of months.
Okay.
And if we didn't have wards, this wouldn't be an issue, right?
Correct.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
All right, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the correspondence from Mr. Knudsen, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28118, approving the 2019-2020 snow and ice control program.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28118, approving the 2019-2020 snow and ice control program. Discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to chime in to say that I totally agree and appreciate Ryan's wanting to get out and publicize it, as you all discussed on Tuesday. I, too, was surprised by the survey results. I think we do an excellent job, especially considering the winters we've had. So I think that that's a great idea because I think it's one of our best services, to be honest with you. That's all I got.
Okay. Again, it's all about managing the expectations, and when people know what the policies are and the expectations, then it's much better. So
I'll still put our Marion up against Cedar Rapids, because on those early mornings when we have storms and I'm driving from Marion to downtown Cedar Rapids, I will say our streets are cleared before them and cleared better. So I've said that before, and I'll probably say it in the future. Keep doing the great job.
okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28118, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28119, approving a contract change order with Ratchie Construction regarding the public service maintenance facility grading project in the amount of $59,256.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28119, approving the contract change order with Ratchie Construction regarding public service maintenance facility grading project in the amount of $59,256. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Normally, this amount would jump out at me, as well as the one next to it, which is related, but I heard Ryan say we're still under budget, so I'm cool with that. But these are big change orders coming in, so thank you for having that answer on the ready.
Okay. Other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28119, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. Do that one.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28120, approving a contract change order with Mid-States Concrete Industry regarding the precast concrete package for the public service maintenance facility in the amount of $33,500.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28120, approving the contract change order with Mid-States Concrete Industry regarding the precast concrete package for the public service maintenance facility in the amount of $33,500. Discussion? Ryan, you might just reiterate, just for general knowledge, but why we're seeing these change orders?
Yeah, well,
in this
I go
amount?
back to number 2. So with the amount of rainfall we've gotten this year, the soils became so saturated that we didn't have a choice but to excavate the soils and stabilize and then re-rock them. We are anticipating we're actually going to do another change order to reduce our total contract quantities, so I got a feeling we'll make that number disappear in the long run. Right now, we're going to kind of call off the grading project for this year, because any type of grading we do, we're going to just have to fix it next spring. So I got a feeling we're going to probably do another change order to get that back. As with the change order for the precast, We had a mock-up panel made from Mid-States Concrete to show us what the precast is going to look like. When they delivered it, there were some concerns with staff as well as the design team about the long-term maintenance of the panels. They came back, they were very, very smooth. And what I was shown, what the design team showed me, is if the panel were to chip, you're going to see it. And so what we asked Mid-States to look at is sandblasting the panel and to seal it. That allows it, the facility to be cleaned much easier, because what happens, you'll get algae and mildew over time to build up on the back, especially on the north side. And we're looking for an easier way to clean it, and so it's just going to look a lot better in the long run. So staff is recommending moving forward with that change order.
One more
Yes, go ahead.
question. Can you, how does the change order with this particular contract work? Is there a certain percentage threshold that we pay those change orders until a certain point, and then at some point they have some skin in the game? You know what I mean? Like, what keeps the contract from continuing to just change order without them feeling the pinch as well as us?
They cannot initiate any type of change orders whatsoever. The city is the only ones that can do that. And so we've done actually 2 change orders with them so far. One is for the storm shelter that's going into the facility. That was actually to save money. The second one is just basically, this is adding a finish and a sealant onto the precast. And so actually, it's going to cost more. But given the size of the facility, I mean, it's about the same size as Menards, that's actually a pretty good price. And so we wouldn't look at it if it wasn't that price there. So, yep. But the city are the only ones that can initiate a change order. They can no longer. I got a feeling that's probably it for this. So.
Okay. So any other change orders are just requests that we have above and beyond
Yep.
what the original proposal
Absolutely.
was? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. It's good to bring that out. Other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving resolution number 28120, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. For the next item, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Ready for me?
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28121, approving the purchase of a 2019 Ford Transit 250 cargo van from McGrath Ford in the amount of $28,466.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28121, approving the purchase of a 2019 Ford Transit 250 cargo van from McGrath Ford in the amount of $28,466. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 28121, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes with 1 abstention. I'll turn the meeting back over to the mayor.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28122, approving the City of Marion Linn-Mar School District Joint Track and Field Complex Development Project.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Atkins, seconded by Councilmember Jensen, to approve resolution number 28122, approving the City of Marion Linn-Mar School District Joint Track and Field Complex Development Project. Discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Mike for how this came to be, that it came to us at this stage, but there was a lot of, obviously, planning and collaboration with Linn-Mar. This is exactly what we identified in the strategic plan. We're hoping to see more private-public partnerships. This is a public-public, but it's a win-win because the school benefits by, having this dedicated space that is kind of going to be built up to their speed without us having to kick in extra money. So it's just great when we can work together and leverage the resources in town. It saves the taxpayer money, and I just hope to see more of this between the districts and the city, and maybe even the city and other cities or the county, but I feel like these are good creative solutions. This is definitely a winner. Thank you.
Other discussion? We had quite a bit of discussion on Tuesday, but anything to add? Anyone? Okay. We'll vote. All those in favor of resolution number 28129? No, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong. All those in favor of resolution number 28122, approving the City of Marion Lindenmar School District Joint Track and Field Complex Development Project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28123, approving AIA document G704 certificate of substantial completion regarding the Lau Park Maintenance Facility addition.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28123, approving the certificate of substantial completion for the Lau Park Maintenance Facility addition. Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 28123, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's been approved. Mr. Sternad?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a motion to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a request for no parking on Orchard Road east of Orchard Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file, discuss, and refer to the Traffic Advisory Committee a request for no parking on Orchard Road east of Orchard Drive. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved, and for the audience, then now this will go to the Traffic Advisory Committee and come back to us with a recommendation.
We're doing that now.
Oh, well, that's the next one on,
Right.
on the agenda.
Yep.
That's right.
That's
Okay.
been done. So, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and concur
right.
with the TAC report regarding a request for no parking on Orchard Drive on Orchard Road east of Orchard Drive.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and concur with the TAC report, concurring with the request for no parking on Orchard Road east of Orchard Drive. So, discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28124, approving the establishment of a no parking zone on the south side of Orchard Road on the east side of Orchard Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28124, approving the establishment of a no parking zone on the south side of Orchard Road on the east side of Orchard Drive. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a request for no parking on Charter Oak Lane Southeast. Cindy Rudish, 5020 Northridge Point Southeast.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, discuss, and refer to the Traffic Advisory Committee a request for no parking on Charter Oak Lane Southeast. Discussion? This is the one that we had a presentation on?
This is the one where the petitioners came in
From the
and gave
homeowners,
a presentation at the end of the council meeting.
Discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28125, approving change order number 1 with Christner Contracting, Inc., regarding the 2019 fire station project, regarding the modification of the building pad material in the amount of $21,000.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28125, approving change order number 1 with Christner Contracting, Inc., regarding the 2019 fire station project, regarding for modifications of the building pad material in an amount of $21,000. Discussion? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah. So does this one work like the Public Works one where we initiate these. This isn't them initiating the change order. I don't know, am I asking?
Sure. So
Or Mike.
basically, any change order is a change in either you're changing a product that you want to change, or it's a change in site conditions. So as we all know, we did not have an ideal fall. We did not have a winter or a fall. We basically went straight from summer to winter. And so in order to keep this project moving, they first requested this $21,000 to bring lime in and to work on the pad. Since then, we've also had additional conversations with them, and it's going to cost more than that to keep this project moving, given the site conditions that are out there today. So we put the hub drain package in to try and drain the site. But again, when you're getting constant rain and there's just soils that are saturated out there, it's hard to keep the project going. So what we wanted to do was try and get some numbers from them. They have not been able to provide all of the numbers yet to say, do we put this project on hold, let things dry out, and then attack this project in the spring, or do we keep mudding through it? Because I don't want to come in front of the city council every 2 weeks and ask for another $20,000 or $30,000 because something else came up. So we had a meeting with them. It was the same day as the groundbreaking for the YMCA that morning, and we had the architect, we had the civil design engineer, myself, the chief, Amal. We had our geotech engineer that's doing the testing for us, the contractor, the subcontractor, so we can all sit down in the same room and discuss this, because that's not what I want to happen with this project. So we don't have those hard numbers that we can give you tonight that say, if we spend $100,000, it's going to keep this project on track, because they have not been able, with the short time period between then and today, they have not been able to provide that. But we're guessing that it's probably another $75,000 in addition to keep this moving. So knowing that, we do have ongoing costs. We're already training firefighters to station in this station. We're still working on value engineering. We don't have an exact number for you, but we've already had those meetings of what we're going to decrease that, and I'll let Amal go into those details. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but we wanted to have a general discussion with City Council, because this is obviously over our spending threshold. We just approve these moving forward, but to get your guys' input on, do we keep this project moving, or do we delay this project when it's been delayed so many years and we really need this? So.
Well, my only concern is that we approve this tonight and then you come back with, more data that says it's going to be even more, and that might, we're already going to go down the road without having all the data, I feel like, if we approve this tonight. I get it. I'm one of the people who have wanted to see, I think we've all wanted to see the fire station get done, quite frankly, but it came in over budget, and then we're just getting into it, and this is, potentially another $100,000 on top of all of the other asks. So I have a lot of concerns about it. Is the value engineering that's ongoing is there a certain dollar amount you're trying to get to, or are you just, how are you attacking the value engineering? What's the goal?
We started working the line items that could be candidates for cost reductions. Actually, today I received a number which is 592,000 potential savings. We are going to meet with our architect on Tuesday to finalize that list. We already discussed the items and the specifications for them without compromising the quality or the design.
Wow, that's a lot of savings without.
Did you say 593?
92,000.
92?
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm good for now. I know some other people wanted to. Thank you both.
Well, I had the same question about the value engineering. So from a timing standpoint, I understand you've got weather conditions. I also understand you've got certainly the winter situation, which could add some cost. You got the other factor of, if you delay it till spring, the cost of building is going to go up probably more just due to materials cost, or is this a locked-in price?
So it should be a locked-in price. That's
Even if it's
something
delayed
where,
till spring?
they could order their steel now. It's just a matter of where they're going to store it, things like that.
Okay.
But we already have a contract with them. So those prices won't go up because we bid the project. So that's why we pushed to get the project bid. Now, that doesn't say in the spring that we don't have a long spring, a wet spring, and we don't get started till June. We don't know that until that plays out. So that's one hard thing. I'm sure you've heard from Director Miller before that we only had 5 months without snow this year. Well, next year could be just as bad. And we could still, even if we wait, if it's not ideal conditions, we might still be paying $100,000 to get this footing started.
So when are we going to receive an analysis, or when are you going to have an analysis done on whether we feel it's going to be worthwhile spending another $75,000 potentially compared to delaying it to the spring based upon the whole project?
I'm not sure how fast they're going to get that to us, because some of it, they needed to know when they bid this project that some of the concrete was going to be poured in the winter.
Right.
And so there's obviously some cost benefit where we're not going to pay for all that. They had some of that in their bid. So that's what's hard, is pulling that stuff out, because when you bid this project, it's a lump sum. So we don't know those each individual item. So it takes a lot to get into that.
I understand that. I mean, I'm assuming all of us up here are also going to be looking at value engineering completely separate from this. I mean, that's independent of whatever decision we have to make relative to this, because
it does play in a little bit, because say we don't move forward with this, they could say that they don't have the staffing to do it later, and so that could come into the value engineering too. Maybe they had their staff planned on working on it this winter, and if all of a sudden we say you don't have a project this winter, then that could go into the negotiations of, well, what are we supposed to do with our workers during this winter?
And what their spring backlog is.
Yep.
I understand that aspect of it.
But
Right.
to that quick point, don't we ding them like $1,000 a day that they're late? Like, does that play into this?
So there's liquidated damages on this one, and that's one of the value engineering things they asked us to take out. But this is a calendar, so it's not based on, we just have a date where they have to have substantial completion and a date when they have to have final occupancy. So it's not like a road project where it's per working day. This is just a set date that they have to meet that date. But if we say we're not going to pay this and we're not going to start it till April 1 of 20, well, then that moves everything back based on that date, because that's not fair to give them a tighter time frame and still have those same penalties.
So the ask tonight is for us to approve $21,000. That'll be a sunk cost. And then in 2 weeks, we'll know whether there's an additional change order required.
There is going to be an additional change order required.
Right. There will be another one. We just don't know whether we think that's the right recommendation.
Correct.
We do know that overall the change order should not exceed, including the 21,000, should not exceed the 75,000. And when we discussed the items that because of the weather or the site condition, there are scheduled values. They said they're going to go back and look at them. They haven't figured out in their price. We might get reduction because things change now. We're talking about engineered sand or geogrid and rock on top. So that would reduce a little bit on disking. They have figured out in that price. So that price should come down a little bit, because they have a process now they're not going to be following.
Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this situation is a bad situation, and I understand that. But what we need to remember is that we've done our best to get to this point, to get a third station. We've been asking since 2007, and now we've gotten to the point where someone gave us the okay to go ahead and proceed, and we're proceeding, and due to Mother Nature, it's been an issue, and it's something out of our control. So I just want to remind everyone of that.
Thank you.
And I do believe you have some contingencies built in our budget as well.
Yes.
So this could be within the budget,
Yes.
Potentially.
assuming no other change orders. Okay, other questions or discussion? Okay. You ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of approving resolution number 28125, approving change order number 1 to the fire station project in the amount of $21,000, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 28126, approving Wildrai Farms first additional final plat located south of Highway 151 and west of Stone Road, Lynn County, Iowa. Wildrai Farms, LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28126, approving Wildrai Farms first edition final plat located south of Highway 151, west of Stone Road. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 28126, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28127, approving payment to Dual Guard Industries for a transit shelter to be located at 105 Southview Drive, funded by tax increment financing, low and moderate income set-aside assistance dollars, in the amount of $6,907.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28127, approving the payment to Dual Guard Industries for transit shelter to be located at 105 Southview Drive and funded by tax increment financing, low and moderate income set-aside assistance dollars in the amount of $6,907. I just want to say I like how this resolution is worded because it's actually clear what we're voting on, and it's all stated right there. So, discussion.
Kudos.
Did Tom write that?
No.
No.
Let's be perfectly clear.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 28127, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 28128, approving acquisition plat for property located at 597 21st Street.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28128, approving the acquisition plat for the property located at 597 21st Street. It's part of the Central Corridor project. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 28128, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to direct staff to draft an ordinance to amend Chapter 176.41 of the Marion zoning code regarding notification signs for the amendment of zoning districts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to draft an ordinance to amend Chapter 176.41 of the zoning code regarding notification signs for the amendment of zoning districts. This is regarding the signs when zoning districts are being changed. Discussion?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
What are we trying to change about them? Aren't they the little orange cards right now?
So it's the way the ordinance reads. Whenever an application for rezoning occurs, the property is required to have a sign posted in it. And understanding that the city wants to maintain and comply with all of our zoning regulations when we rezone the city.
Oh, yeah.
We
It all just came to mind.
Is your mic on, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So what we're wanting to do is provide an exclusion, but also identify what happens when you do a citywide rezoning. And so what we're looking to do is place a notice in the a messenger so that goes to every resident. So there'll be literally be a notice placed in there, and we'll make it more of like a letter format, but notifying everyone of when that public hearing will be. We've had the open houses, so we've had a lot of public comment around it, and we'll also solicit the news media and the press to kind of get that word out. But we'll obviously follow our legal requirements, which is the legal notice, but no one really looks at that. So
Right.
we will do what we can to make sure that notice is provided. So.
Can we include it on the, like a water bill or, you know what I mean? Not to ding the water department, but that's something everyone gets as well?
Well, we've looked at that, but it takes, I think, how many, is it three billing cycles? So to do that, which, if we started now, we'd be, it'd take a little while to do. So the messenger we thought was a really good opportunity to do that, because that does go to every household, I believe. And I'm not sure if it's every business, but we'll work through that plan and certainly let the council know about that as well. So there's actually been a lot of conversation and questions and feedback from just the open houses we've had. So we're following up on that as well. So
Maybe we could get Ryan to paint the streets everywhere orange and alert everyone's attention.
right.
That'd be different.
I like it.
Hey. Cool,
Is that
thank
in
you.
the budget?
Yeah, probably not.
Mike's budget.
All of a sudden, we have a retirement notice.
Okay, further discussion on this item? All those in favor of the motion to direct staff to draft an ordinance to amend Chapter 176.41 of the Code of Ordinances, the zoning code, regarding notification signs for amendment of zoning districts, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion's approved. I'm turning over the gavel for this next item to Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 28129, approving the purchase of a 2019 Ford Escape from Lynch Ford in the amount of $22,720.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 28129, approving the purchase of a 2019 Ford Escape from Lynch Ford in the amount of $22,720. Discussion? Ms. Gedalia.
Yeah, so, I just, when I was reading ahead again and noticing this, and I'm like, Ford, we purchased a Ford on the last page, but from a different Ford vendor, and I'm just wondering if we had considered trying to, again, leverage that purchasing power of if we went to one Ford dealer, would they give us a better deal? So I don't know if we tried that and it just didn't work. But since we are growing and we are expanding our fleet, I think this is another good example of just trying to pull all of our purchases from like vendors to try to get a better discount. I'm not saying that could have been done, but I think we just did another vehicle in the last couple of meetings. It just seems like there's a potential there. If we're not looking at it already, I'm just bringing it up because I heard that we just went through this a page ago, and it seems like it could be a good opportunity. So that's it.
Any other questions from the council on this item? Tom, exactly, can you tell us what the utilization of this would be? I don't know if we actually heard. Is there a specific need for it, or is this just an addition to getting some fleets in all departments?
So this is a replacement vehicle for the inspector.
Okay. And do we, on these, I know I was looking at the other ones, is this a replacement or an addition? I didn't see.
Replacement.
It is a replacement.
Yep.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any other questions on this particular item before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 28129 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes with the abstention of the mayor. I'll turn the gavel back over to that mayor. And with that, I'm back up. At this time, I'd like to make a motion directing staff to engage the bond counsel and proceed with the public notice of future library debt issuance.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to direct staff to engage bond counsel and proceed with public notice of future library debt issuance. Discussion. Do we need a recap on this?
Yeah, I think Lon's got some information too.
Okay.
Go ahead, Holly.
Hello. Just to recap what we talked about on Tuesday night, what you're seeing is the current plan for the new library building just to the east of our current location. You're seeing here that the library is positioned up high on that block, kind of flush with 6th Avenue there with our parking in the back. This is currently planned for a 50,000 square foot building with equal, that square footage spread equally across those 2 floors. We have some items that we'll be coming back to should we continue to proceed forward here, that we have a couple of assumptions that have to do with the utilization of 11th Street moving forward. Those have been some conversations before in the past where we would like the opportunity to be able to utilize some of 11th Street as a continuation of the plaza on south of 6th. So we'll continue to bring those forward as we bring our plans. If you could advance for me, Lon. Thank you. So some of the decisions that we've been making, we are in a pre-construction phase at this point. This is the schematic design phase where we're really just putting out all of the things that we would like to see in the library that we believe the community needs and deserves. And right now we're testing our $18 million budget to make sure that the 50,000 square feet can fit in all of the things that we are looking to have. And again, we'll be moving forward after the 1st of December, hopefully in an estimation phase to make sure that, again, testing that budget to make sure it's going to get us what we want from the building. The kind of key decision points that we've made at this point is that we are really looking at this building to be a multi-generational facility. So here on the 1st floor, we have our children's department, which is going to be our traditional print materials that we've normally seen in the library with a lot of more technology, and an active learning zone that we've talked about before, sort of like the play place for libraries, where kids are going to be able to come together in different ages and do some active learning. We talk about them doing structured learning a lot during the school week in their classrooms, and this is going to allow for a new layer of active learning. We also have our multi-purpose rooms on this floor. Some interesting things that you can see that we are contemplating is the ability to be able to bring the outdoors in, and on those months that we really love the outdoors in Iowa, that we would be able to open up some big doors that would lead out to a plaza, possibly on 11th Street, to make this very much a festival space, an event space for Uptown Marion. Most of everything that you're seeing here on the 1st floor, kind of over on the west side of the building, is going to be very flexible space for us to be able to bring in exhibit quality type exhibits to Marion, and we're really excited about that as well. We have a rear entrance here and a front entrance. If we can look at the 2nd floor line, this is where we bring together our teen population with our adult population. There is a rooftop, that we say a rooftop deck here. It's really not on the roof. It's more of a patio that will hold somewhere between 75 and 100 people. So we believe that this will be a great venue, again, where we'd like to be able to open up some doors in the nice weather and bring the outside in. We expect there to be weddings and different types of events on this patio, again, bringing some more event space to Uptown, as well as that light yellow phase here in the middle is what we're considering to be our creator space, where we'll have some of those things that include makerspace type technology, things like recording studios where we can capture oral histories, green screens, podcasting, those types of things, as well as our spaces for our sewing machines, our art, some of those bigger crafting areas, again, where we really want to bring those generations together in that space here on the 2nd floor. So that's sort of just kind of some general concepts. This is by no means a final design. We hesitate to show this because this is just, again, trying to make sure that everything is going to fit into the building. Our goal for this discussion tonight is to make sure that we can continue to move forward with the project. One of the key things that I talked about on Tuesday night is everything that we have built on this project plan right now assumes the model, the funding model that Lana is going to bring forward. What we know, and as we're hearing with some of our other projects, the longer the construction schedule, the more expensive the project becomes. So we're doing everything that we can do at this point to keep the project moving, and so that we can stay focused on that $18 million budget that we committed to the last time we had a work session with the council. So any questions for me before I turn it over to Lon for the funding?
Oh,
Sure.
go ahead.
Okay, so I'll hold the funding stuff. Where's the book drop?
Oh, back to
That
the
get
first.
figured out in this?
Yes.
That
So
has been such a
this is
thing.
really exciting, actually. So on the south side where you see the parking, the book drop is, you see there's a little line. If you can point, can you point for me, Lon? Since I don't have control, no pointing. But there's a little line just south of the green area on the back of the library there, the book drop. So you see the curve in. People will be able to go in through the book drop.
Okay.
And in addition to the book drop, there is a service window. So, and for our patrons that may be just in a quick hurry, some that may have mobility issues, it's a cold day out, it's raining, they will be able to come in and pick their hold up through a service window. So we'll be able to hand their holds out through the window for them there. It'll be a 2-lane, so you can come in through the book drop, or if you need to go around, you can go around as well.
Okay, cool. Do you plan on generating any revenue with some of these additional spaces like the wedding?
Absolutely, we do. So we just actually had a policy meeting last night. We do policy reviews every month, and the meeting room policy was one of them that we reviewed, and I had lengthy conversation with the policy committee about what that's going to look like moving forward. Anytime that we have access or private events in the library, especially outside of library hours, we absolutely will have a fee schedule for that. So we do plan to use this as a rental space and to recoup cost anytime that we allow the use of that space outside of our normal hours. Generally speaking, and there's a lot to be determined with this, if the library's open and it's our normal hours and you're just reserving a room like you would that you do now, we would not charge a fee for that. But any type of special event where there might be a ticketed event or someone might have more of a commercial type event happening in a meeting room, then there'll be some decisions about the fee schedule and the fee structure for that as well. So we absolutely will be assuming a revenue generation for this building. Just to give you a kind of a benchmark, in Cedar Rapids, their event space is sold out in the summer for weddings. And that is, we won't have as large of a rooftop as they have there, but we wholeheartedly anticipate this space being flexible enough to handle not only wedding types of events, but class reunions, corporate events, all of those types of things.
Yeah, it's a great spot for it. And then, so this is, what's the current square footage right now?
24,000 square feet.
So you're doubling. So how much more staff do you anticipate needing with this building?
Actually, we are designing this building to not increase staff very much at all. And we are building that in over the next couple of years of the staff that we're going to need. Some of the key things that we have controlled in this building, and you all might recall that we've talked about in our previous designs, is the way that this is set up with the one entrance that's kind of going down that little corridor that feeds all of the people coming into the library to the same location. So our service desk that we have in the library now will be the same size of a service desk that we will have here, and we have made very intentional decisions about where we will have service spots in the library. As far as our day-to-day operational staff, we are not anticipating needing more staff. What we're hoping to do is to continue to rework the staffing model that we have now. There's a couple of positions that we're looking at. One would be a reference librarian that would be on our second floor that would help with that adult area on the second floor. I think we're actually going to be a little bit more efficient in this building than we are in our building. Right now we have a PC or a computer corral where you have like 40 computers. That really requires a staff member to be there and to be accessible and to help. We're trying to spread that out a little bit more in this building. So from an operational cost, we're really trying to keep that in check a little bit. I've been having ongoing conversations with Lon. One of our biggest needs are probably going to be technology and a reference librarian, but I'm really thinking 2, but kind of spread out between now and the time we get to the library.
So if this happens as you're proposing, the doors open, you can run it with your current staffing levels if you need to?
I can, yes ma'am.
Okay, and then maybe the the revenue generating stuff can help offset.
Absolutely.
Because the budget discussion from Tuesday and the additional
Yes.
staffing and the current complement and all that terrifies me to start thinking about new people, but you're doubling the size, so I had to
Absolutely.
ask. Okay, and then I think, okay, the rest are numbers.
Sure.
I'll save it.
I just do want to make a comment on that, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
Councilman Godelia. We are at a deficit right now of one staff person that we're hoping to kind of make right. So I don't believe that we are going to be requesting additional staff because of the build of this project, but we're a little bit behind of some staffing requests that we've made in previous years that haven't been approved. So we're continuing to try to get to where the baseline that we think we need to be and really try to hold steady.
Okay, thank you.
If you haven't been to the library recently, we've just included some new equipment that we think is going to help with that, where you can pay all of your fines and fees and all of that stuff with credit cards and all of that yourself. So we continue to want to incorporate that self-serve model that our patrons are pretty used to in the marketplace these days.
Did you at one point tell us that there's a potential there could be some commercial?
Yes. So early on, when we were looking at some different designs, we were going through the design, kind of trying to fill out what the square footage is going to look like. There still is an option that we could add a retail space to this building. However, that would be at the cost of the library, and that would add to our $18 million budget. The thought process is that if we added some level of a retail space here, that we could lease it out to some other type of organization. Generally speaking, when you do that, though, you don't recoup the money that you get from having to build onto that square footage. And at the end of the day, based on the cost that it was the cost implications to us to add a retail space, we decided not to move forward with that. Now, in lieu of that, this little yellow space that's up here close to our multi-purpose rooms, we really would like to, when we think about commercial space or retail space, we want to make this whole marketplace feel that way. And one of the elements that we would really like to bring in that I've mentioned to Brooke is to have some sort of visitor center feel to that area, so new people that are coming in to the uptown can have some visitor information. Those types of things we think will be what will be most successful there.
There is retail in the library, right? Coffee shop.
There is not a coffee shop right now. What we intend to do is to partner, back to our partner conversations with our local coffee vendors in the uptown and see what we can do to bring that into that space. There's definitely going to be space for it. We've done a lot of benchmarking, and one of the most recent places that we visited was a branch of the East Branch of the Davenport Public Library. They created a cafe space inside of their library, and they've had 4 vendors in there since they opened. So it's really difficult to manage that as a library and become a landlord. Cedar Rapids is on their 2nd vendor in their space. They went blank without anybody in it for quite a bit of time. And so it's just, as we kind of weighed the pros and the cons of that and the benchmarking that we've been doing, we've decided to try to manage that ourselves and provide that kind of experience for our customers without having to be a landlord.
Keurig coffee machine.
Yeah, Keurig.
I think we're going to try to step it up from a Keurig, but
2 Keurigs.
Right.
My question is, how much of the furniture, shelving that's in the existing library will be utilized in the new one, if any?
Right now, 0. So what I can tell you about the furniture that's in the library right now is it hasn't been replaced since 1996, a lot of it. We're actually trying to phase some of it out. Okay. The wear and tear of it is rather dismal. We have been bringing in some new pieces. So as I talked about the self-check machines and the things that we're doing now, we're planning to bring those with us. So anything that we can bring, we will bring. The reason why our shelving is not coming along with us is because in most cases it's too tall. It's not ADA compliant. It's not flexible enough for us to use in the space that we're trying to create. And quite frankly, it's really in rough shape. It's pretty beat up. So we hate to have a beautiful new building and put a lot of beat up stuff in there. So we're going to do the best that we can to bring as much over as we possibly can. We have some stuff we have dollars in asset replacement that we've been working with and trying to manage that pool of dollars very intentionally so that we're not buying things that we can't take and all that good stuff. So as much as we can take, we will. But we also want to make sure that that first impression when folks come in the door, again, is what they're expecting.
Well, I figured that was your answer, but I don't recall we had ever discussed that
Sure.
aspect
Sure.
before. So I think it just needed to be very clear for everybody to understand that.
Absolutely.
So-
And I would say, by and large, if you look at our budget, and I'm not sure if we have that slide, but the $3 million capital campaign that we are private campaign that we're looking at doing has always been a $3 million FF&E, even when we were talking about the mixed use, the Marion mixed use. So I think that if you look at kind of our furnishings and our technology there, a lot of that FF&E stuff are the materials that we've been planning all along in this project.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Holly, you had touched on the revenues that are brought in. Can you tell us exactly, I don't know if I've ever understood, but I know that if it is a profit organization, you do charge rent. Can you just elaborate a little bit? Where do those revenues go that are collected for those items, and where would they be in the proposed new building?
So currently, any revenue that we bring in to the library goes back to the general fund of the city. In the future, where those dollars will go will need to be discussed. Depending on, I can tell you for the city of Cedar Rapids, they ended up having to hire a full event staff because the library was being utilized so much for after-hour events. And so it was important that those revenues come back to pay for some of those costs as well. So I think some of that will just we haven't gotten that far yet, Councilman Sternad, but those are things that we're going to have to discuss. But right now, all of the revenue that the library generates goes back to the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay.
I'm sure I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I just try to bring it up more quickly than Tom does. So on Tuesday, we went through a breakdown of how the financing would work for the overall project. There's really 4 pieces of what we're looking at for funding here. One is the local option sales tax that was dedicated through the funding plan that was adopted in 2014. We have the sale of the existing library site. We have the private funding, the capital campaign that Holly was referencing, and then planned bond proceeds for the remaining gap that's associated with the overall project. This does anticipate that the Friends and Foundation would capitalize the pledges to provide that money as cash that could be applied towards the project, and it presumes that we are going to be able to receive around $3 million from the sale of the existing site. As I outlined on Tuesday, the idea there is that as soon as our date is known for when we would anticipate moving into the new facility, that we would put out a request for proposal or a request for qualifications on the existing site, and then have those proposals come in so we'd know what the sale price was ultimately going to be, and then tie the closing to presumably within about 30 to 45 days of our move date for going into the new building. So that way the money would come in before we had to pay the final construction bills and before we paid out the retainage on the project, so that we'd actually have the cash to apply. The bond proceeds, I've modeled it out assuming that we do it over 2 consecutive calendar years, which would be the first issuance would be $4 million. I've got that modeled in being in November of 2020, and then the other one would be $3 million. That would be April of 2021. What that does is it spreads out the repayment over a couple of fiscal years to moderate the ultimate impact on the debt service levy. I'm modeling it, trying to do it under kind of worst case scenario, assuming that all $7 million goes against the debt service levy. We do have some potential with some of the other site improvements around it that would be part of the budget, things like sidewalks, etc. Those could potentially be done using tax increment financing rather than using the debt service levy, which would reduce that number. But just for example purposes, purposes. As I say, I've tried to go worst case scenario. So looking at the way those two come together, you have a smaller payment in the first fiscal year that we have to start repaying it, and then the second fiscal year, both notes hit at the same time. And looking at those, the impact on the debt service levy would be about 21.6 cents when fully realized in the second year. It goes from 17 cents to about 21.6 and then starts to scale down. I'm using valuation assumptions based off of what Zach has put together for the 5-year financial plan that he's working on for the city. But in practical terms, what does that actually mean? For the owner of a $100,000 house, it means in the first year that their taxes that would go to pay for the library would be about $9.60. The second year would be the highest year. It would be about $12.63, assuming the state doesn't monkey around with the rollback and everything. So at a $100,000 house, the impact would be $12.63 a year at its peak. For those that have $300,000 and $400,000 houses, you just multiply that number out. But it's a good point of reference for people to be able to kind of do their own calculations.
So what happens if we don't sell the building for $3 million, or the private funding campaign falls short?
Or if the budget, or if the estimated budget goes up.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've,
So-
every project we've done, we're seeing change orders, so.
So I will say that a couple of things to add to that. Number one, we had our foundation meeting this week, and they wholeheartedly have agreed to cover the pledge funds. There's no question about that whatsoever. So they will be responsible for the pledge fund. To your question, Mr. Mayor, if we are not able to, if they are not able, we are not able to raise the $3 million on private funding, that'll be the responsibility of the foundation, because they will be securing a pledge loan for that. As the private funding piece of that. So that won't fall back to the city, that will fall back to our friends and foundation.
So that $3 million is solid?
That $3 million is solid.
Okay. And,
Now-
and did we do an appraisal of the building on to know what we're going to sell
Yes,
it for?
that was the other thing I was going to say. The last time we did appraisal on the building was back in 2015. Do you remember that? It's 15, I think it was, and it was $2.6 million at that time. So we feel pretty confident about the $3 million valuation based on where we're going.
Is that for the land or for land in the building?
Land in the building.
Okay. So how does that work? I mean, if somebody wants to redevelop the site, the building is worth nothing to them.
That's why we have to discuss whether we do a request for proposals or a request for qualifications on which way we'd want to go forward with it. There's a lot of different ways that people could potentially use the site versus using the building, but we'd put it in the hands of the private sector. My thought was that we'd put it out, a lot of times you'll see it, you'd put it out with a minimum expectation of what your minimum bid would be coming in. Now, there are a couple of pieces with that. The reason I would like to do it when we actually have the bids for the building is that, as we've seen before, what happens if we put the building out to bid and it comes in at $19.5 million instead of $18 million? Well, we wouldn't put anything out on the on the current library site until we figured out what we were going to do with that portion of the budget, because we'd have to come up with a plan for, do we still proceed? Do we reduce the size of the building? How do we adapt to that? Same token, if it comes in great at 17.2, then we know we have a little bit of breathing room if the proceeds for the building fall in a little bit short of what we're anticipating. So I want to make sure before we do that we have as many factors known as we can, so we know what we need to absolutely net out of the building in order to be able to proceed with the project.
So our estimating of the building will align with that as well. So we plan to start that, if we are able to go forward after tonight, we plan to start the estimation process with our construction manager through the month of December. So by the time we get to mid-January, we will know estimation-wise what they're suggesting that the project will cost. Maybe it'll come in under. Maybe my Christmas miracle. But after that, we will know based on the RFQ that we do. So we'll do the RFQ at that same time while we're going through that design phase. And if we may need to make adjustments, we have a lot of time to make adjustments to the project before we get to the groundbreaking or the actual construction. And one of the things that I'm talking about quite a bit with our design team is if there are things that we end up not being able to afford the day we open the doors, that doesn't mean that we can't still continue that fundraising and hope to add those things in later. So we have, I think, a lot of flexibility in how we move forward with that overall budget. And I just want to say, too, that we're getting really good early indicators about our private funding campaign. With the folks that we have been talking to, we had a wonderful meeting today with the Giacoletta Foundation. They're very positive about the project. We've already been talking with Hall Perrine. We know we have an opportunity with the Carver Foundation. So I like to go for the gold here a little bit, and the reason why I like Lon's kind of process is that gives us some time to get into our capital campaign and to see, you know, maybe we don't need all of that money by the time we get to the second bond issuance. I know that's optimistic, but I like to think that way.
Yes, sir.
So, Lon, on this motion that we have in front of us, it refers to at the end about the notice of future library debt issuance. So when that notice is put out, what dollar amount is included in there, or how is that exactly worded? I mean, we're talking about $7 million here, but realistically, is that the number that's going to be published, or is there a range? How does that get published? So just remind us.
That would be the number that would be published, that the city intended to issue a maximum of $7 million worth
Maximum
of
of
debt
7.
associated with the project, yeah.
Okay.
And just to add to that, I have said over and over and over and over again, we have a maximum budget of $18 million. Lots of things can come up, I know, but we are willing to make the adjustments that we need to make to the design of the building before, you know, we do that. So we're going to hold as hard as we can to that $18 million budget, if not lower.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, so this is long overdue. I think we can all agree on that. And the citizens clearly said back in, when was the lost vote for this $5 million?
2014.
2014. So 5 years ago, the public said, yes, we want to put money toward that. But now we're asking the city to, you know, pony up a little more than double. And I know I'm the lone person here, but I feel strongly that we should put this out and ask the public. March 3rd is the date that we would be able to do that based on the special elections for public measures. And so I just want to offer that up here for everybody to consider again, because we're asking for 12 million. 5 is definitely dog-eared for it, but I just feel like, I mean, I think that the library project is an awesome project, and I think it would get that support, and I would just feel better if we did that. But anyway, for everyone's discussion, but I did print these dates out. The other one is September 8th, which is way too far away, but I feel like March 3rd is not that far. So.
May I respond to that?
Sure, go ahead.
So absolutely, and we've had that conversation before. This is absolutely a decision for you guys to make. I just want to make sure that I am giving you all of the information to make that decision. As I said at the beginning, we have built this whole entire schedule and the $18 million budget off of the plan that Lon has brought forward tonight. If we move out even to March, we are going to be pushing the schedule quite a bit out. If that stops everything, so just so you know, if we have to wait for that, I can't start my capital campaign. We'd have to halt everything that we're doing right now with our schematic design, and so that's going to push the project quite a bit out. And there are some pretty significant cost, implications to moving it out. So as long as we recognize that there could be an increase in the budget of the overall project for moving it out even just a few months, I just want to make sure that you all know that we won't be able to move forward with any of the pieces of the project. Our fundraisers won't move forward with the project until we know we have the public funding. So it has some pretty significant implications to the project.
I'm certainly valid, and understand the position we're in. We really want this project. I mean, I do. I'm speaking for myself, and I think Renee too, and everybody up here. We really want this project to happen. I mean, we're all supporters of the library. We all see the need for the library, the role it serves in the community. That's without question. But we're in a position where we have to make this decision, and trying to make the best decision on behalf of the public. And we have 2 council members missing here, so I don't know if we should at least wait till next meeting so that we have a full council. This is a very big decision. it's a decision adding to the debt significantly. I just wonder if we should have the other council members here, so it's a full council. And then we've had more time to think about it. I mean, I know we've had a while to think about it, but until the agenda came out, I didn't know this decision was going to be made this week. It's good to have notice to be able to know what's coming up and be able to kind of solidify your position on it. So that's just where I stand. I just feel like I'm not sure I'm ready to make that decision tonight. And it doesn't mean that I'm not supportive of the library project. I mean, it's clear in the community I'm an advocate for the library and everything that goes on there. It's just this is a big decision that we have to, make on behalf of the public. Significant debt. Just wondering if the public shouldn't have a say in it. And if we've done our job of telling the public why it's needed, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I'll throw it. Yeah, my comments is, again, I've kind of been on the fence whether I be in favor of this tonight or not. I think months ago I was saying let's get it done. Actually, I've been able to do just a small poll of people I've been running into the past few days since I knew this was going to be on the agenda. I'm kind of like Nick. It'd be nice to have just a little more time, even the next 2 weeks, to talk to a few more people. But the people I did talk to, and I outlined the different situation, and at that time, I think our understanding was the next special election would be May, not March. So based upon May, I knew exactly where I was going to stand. But generally, I tend to lean more in the favor of let's get it done. Those are the people I've talked to. Those are most of the comments. I get it done. I do feel that with the Imagine 8 support that came out years ago, with the fact that the local option sales tax is a community-wide demonstration of the support for the project as well. Again, I guess if I were to talk about it today, I would support saying let's get it done as well. I will, however, at the minimum, make a motion that if we bring this back up, that this motion does include the language of notice of future library debt issuance of a maximum of $7 million. I would like that language added to that. So if we do vote on it tonight, I would want to amend it to add that. If we table it tonight, I would want that language added so that that clearly is in here as part of that motion. That seems to be that's what you indicated tonight, but for some reason it's not in that wording, and I think it should be.
Sure. Thank you. I just to acknowledge that we've done a lot of work leading up until this point. We've signed, based on our July 11th meeting where we had the commitment of the $18 million. I mean, we're at the point of signing contracts with our construction manager. We're actually negotiating that contract right now. Legal's already reviewed it. We have a contract with our architect. We are in pre-construction phase of this project. So, and we have gotten to that point based on what we believed was the direction of council from our July 11th meeting that we had. So I hope that I'm being respectful in the comments that I'm making. I just would want to make sure that we have appreciation for how far we've gotten in this project so far. I mean, we have a steering committee that's made up of council members and community members that have been coming to biweekly meetings and getting us to the point that we are at right now. So I just, again, want to respectfully ask that we think about the time and effort and the part that we've gotten to at this point I think that any delay that we have at this point is really going to cause a lot of concern with the folks that we've signed contracts with and the community members that we've gotten involved up until this point. So I hear all that you're saying, Mayor, and I very much appreciate the position that you guys are in. I just want to make sure that we fully share where we are in this process.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
So certainly support, right? The library and the work that you all have been doing. Of course, there's so many other projects happening, right? Complexities of a growing city. I really am in the camp of giving us maybe another, right, to the next session when we've got the full council here to have a really good, I think, thorough discussion about what we are making a decision on. So I'm in that sort of, I would appreciate and support tabling it at least till we've got everybody here and we have a chance to really think about this decision that we're making. I hear you. We have been talking about it a long time. With Steve, let's get the project done. But I do feel strongly that we need to get our other two folks to have this really deep conversation and make sure that this indeed is where the direction that we all want to take.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, as to where we're at here, leads me to our meeting back in July. I was very vocal about the position that, we have continued to work with this specific entity, leading them forward, putting it on pause, leading it on forward, putting it on pause, and I will be in favor of this. Nothing's good has happened from waiting. We're seeing that with the fire station. We're seeing that with Public Works. We're seeing it with everything that we're doing. It's time to move forward with this. I think the city shares a lot of the issues that we're dealing with, right? We've been talking about this for a long time. I'm very frustrated at the point where we discuss it, but then we bring it up and now we pause. We discuss it, we do the work, we bring it up, we put it on pause. So I will be going forward in moving with this. We've got moving components with it. We've got allocated dollars that were put towards it. There's a lot that rides on this. We've done it for the YMCA. We've done it for the fire department. We just had to put in $50,000 for a new HVAC system in it. And again, too, we're just going to keep delaying things. Costs just are going to keep going up. The public did speak. We didn't do anything about it. We chose not to do that. That was our problem. I think we share a lot of these issues that are running into the burdens that we're running into today. So I'm going to be in favor of moving forward with that. However, I would be in favor of making a motion, Your Honor, to table this to our next session so that we can have a full council and have full 100% voting without any absentees here this evening, as I do feel it is very important. But thank you to you, your board. There's a lot of work, city staff that goes involved with this. Very disappointed to see us at this point. So let's see what the next session brings. It's time to move forward.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to table the motion until the next meeting. Discussion.
I'll just note that we will add the language as requested by Councilman Jensen.
Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, the motion is approved and the motion is tabled. I just want to add, it's incorrect to assume that there's no support for the library, and this is what I want to make clear. I don't want people to leave here saying certain people don't support the library or the library project. We had a joint meeting with the council, with the library board. We all said we would support by consensus or whatever, that we would be supportive of an $18 million project. It was not, and that hasn't changed. We never have had a discussion or a vote or anything on how the gap would be funded. At that meeting, we were told it was a $6 million gap. Now it's a $7 million gap. There were never any final decisions made. Of course, we all want this project to happen. We all think it's important, but we do have a responsibility, and there are lots of things to think about. I'm willing to be convinced. I'm not, I just want to have a full council here so that it's a full council decision behind it, And it's not at all a question of support for the project. And I want to make that clear. So that's all I can say. And like I said, I'm willing to be convinced. I think everyone who has questions about it is willing to be convinced. This is a very difficult position to be in, and it's a very, very difficult decision, and it's a very important decision. And we keep seeing our debt creep up, and we have lots of projects going on, and it's worth taking a little time to make sure we have a full council decision on it, and that's all I have to say. Thank you. At this time, there's a public forum for comments from the public on items that are not a part of the agenda. This is the time to come forward and address the council on any item that's not part of the agenda. Okay. Otherwise, we'll move on to council comments.
Two quick things. One, I just wanted to let everybody know when Randy and I worked council hours at the library on the 9th, just some of the common concerns. It's always interesting to hear what's on people's minds. Someone wanted to know about UTV usage around town. Is that the right acronym for snowmobiling in the gutter areas, in the trench? What are those, the side of the road? What am I thinking of? The ditch. Yeah, like, because in Wisconsin, you can apparently snowmobile wherever you want. So we told them that probably wasn't happening anytime soon, but we had that. Then the dump came up, and trail safety and the concern of, as we continue to add trails and these amenities in town, which are awesome. Also being, it was a female saying, sometimes you can really just be out there and it can be kind of scary, and I don't really know what the resolve is. Maybe when we beef up our drone staff and departments, we can drone these areas. So anyway, but we had a lot of people stop by with just different things, but some of those were common themes. And then the last thing is, because the holiday falls next week, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. It's a great time of year to reflect on what really matters and the gratitude that we should all be expressing for living in a town like Marion, having the opportunities that we have. And, when we have strife up here, like we just had, these are all first world problems. Like, we're really lucky that these, for the most part, are our problems. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we have these challenges and these big decisions to make. And I, feel like we do and will do the right thing. And anyway, that's it. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
I as well, too, would like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving, and everybody has opportunities to have some downtime and enjoy your family. The time goes by fast. And please check in on those that are less fortunate. I know our food banks are asking for donations if there's opportunities there to help beef those up a little bit, and take a look at giving opportunities. So thank you.
So a lot of people that are in this room attended the YMCA groundbreaking yesterday. So that was a terrific day, one of the best groundbreakings I've been to. It was well organized. Knutson did an excellent job of putting a lot of rock and plywood out on the ground, so there were no muddy conditions at all. And my wife had her mud boots ready in the car in case they were needed. So that was an excellent event. Appreciate Grace covering that. I think, again, I compliment you on the amount of coverage, the kind of coverage you've been given. The city of Marion has been very good, so we do appreciate that, and wish everybody a very merry joyous Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll say my joyous and merry till December.
Just a couple of things. Thanks to all the city staff and to all of my city council colleagues for the 2 full days of strategic planning. It was really exciting work. I mean, I'm being serious, right? It was really exciting work just to see us all come together and have an opportunity to provide voice in the, the growth of our city and what we're doing. So it was a pretty good couple of days. I had to take vacation, and usually when I take vacation, I like to be where it's warm and sunny. So the fact that I'm celebrating that I enjoyed 2 vacation days with all of you is a pretty big deal. So thank you. Second is, so I know we talked about Small Business Saturday, but Marion has one of the best. I encourage you all, even if you're not shopping, just to get out. It is the funnest thing. I've been doing it for several years, and I'm really looking forward to it again this year. It looks like I'll have some extra folks in tow, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then, right, like the rest of the folks, have a really good holiday. Most importantly, just be safe. A lot of folks are traveling. I've got 2 kiddos coming back this way, so I'm super excited about that. But just really enjoy the time with your family. So,
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.